Welcome, everybody, to Innate Interviews. I am your host, Dr. Haig John, and I have Dr. George Rhodes, my friend and author, speaker, and who speaks at New Beginnings, somebody that I love being adjusted by, as a matter of fact, when I get to New Beginnings and being cared for by his wonderful hands. And Dr. George Rhodes, welcome. Thank you for joining us on Innate Interviews.
Thanks for having me. It's a big honor. I'm still kind of nervous.
Hey, well, that's okay
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you've just written a
Excited.
book, and I say just written a book. I'm sure it didn't happen overnight. It's something that's blossomed. Earthsuit Beyond the Body is the title, correct?
Chiropractic beyond the body. Yeah.
Chiropractic Beyond the Body. Tell us about that. That's a big title. There's a lot in just that right there.
It's kind of weird. So I had threatened to write a book for a number of years, and one day a publisher called me up and said, "Want to write a book?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And he gave me some ideas, like come up with a table of contents. You can modify ours. We'll ask you some questions. In a few months, you'll spit out a book, and you can give it to people and have authority. I said, well, I don't want to write a crappy chiropractic book. I've read a lot of those. And kind of what I want to say is what's been going on in my chiropractic life the last 40 plus years and the developments I saw from one phase to the next to the next. And he was like, okay. And so instead of 4 months, it turned out to be 28 months.
Yeah.
And it kind of turned me inside out, and I understood what a hero's journey was all about. It sounded great at first, except for the dark parts where you're going on questioning everything I've ever thought, and all the table talk over the years. How do we make it sound tenable to everybody and anybody? You know, what level of
Yeah.
writer, of author, of the public are you trying to reach? It's like all of them.
Well, pulling these little tidbits out of our head. And, I've got books I've been writing for like 15 years.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
Well, we've got
take
some
your
others in
time.
the mix right now, but it's that journey. When you say that, the hero's journey, I hear like Joseph Campbell in my head. And,
Okay.
we take these things, their life experiences, what we've seen in the world, experience in our bodies, and then being in practice for 40, tell me how long? How long you've been in practice?
November 1st will be 43 years.
43 years. I'm at 21 years right now, okay? 43 years of serving the people. You see so much happen in their lives. You see so much happening to them. Like, I still take care of the guys know my first dog. They were my first patients 21 years ago, still come into the office. So you see so much of the journey. Is what brought that into this title? Just saying this Earth suit. What's an Earth suit to you?
Our Earth suit is we are humanized spirits.
Yeah.
We are of we are from reality and have come to an experiential world. And this planet is heavenly and hellish at the same time. And just like an astronaut, which I wanted to be when I was a kid, needs a special suit to go into that special environment, we've been given an Earth suit. I used to call it a meat suit. And one day I was listening to the radio station, and I don't like listening to the radios because there's a lot of crappy news and there's bad ads and everything. So I found a Christian radio station, and they use the word Earth suit. I'm like, oh, I like that. I'm borrowing that. So this is
Yeah.
Earth. We have a special suit. And then chiropractic beyond just the physical part of our suit. There's a spirit inside. There's a field of information that creates the physical body. And that's kind of the middle part of the book.
Well, and beat Dee Dee, we've talked about this. I've made a couple of posts about it. Dee Dee
Yeah.
talked about, how really special this thing is that we're in. And innate intelligence, he gave the name of the caretaker of the system, who takes care of it, right? And then we have the soul, which gives it all life. And then we have the universal intelligence, which is God of it all, right? And we're part and parcel of the whole. And that's what even Pasquale Sarasoli used to say to me. We're like a hologram, is how he said it. And that we're a part and parcel of the whole, and the whole is contained in every part. And we got that on video. As a matter of fact, that's on YouTube. Right? But of Pasquale and I having this conversation, I think about that moment with Pasquale when I read this. I haven't had a chance to read the book yet, and I'm so excited actually. And it just I've been teaching seminars now. I'm back on Earth. I
Mm,
feel
okay.
grounding myself, and this is like the perfect book right now for me to dive into. I'm
Oh,
excited
great.
about it.
I think it. People are saying that they like that the typeface is kind of big. It was a surprise to me, but I figured people that still read need glasses, so it kind of works that way too. Um, yeah, well, should I share with you the table of contents and we'll kind of go from there?
I would love to. I'm so curious, and I'm sure other people are too. Let's listen to it.
All right, let me see. It's in here someplace. All right, part one, the bone age. So chapter one is educate and adjust, and educate comes first. Chapter two, how do you know what you know? So this is kind of riffing off a line. Anybody that goes to a chiropractor should have their head examined. Well, let's examine what's in your head. What ideas you're holding on to that are blocking a new idea of chiropractic from getting in there? And I talk about Bill Estep
Yes.
shaking the water glass, right? Chapter 3, Foundational Philosophical Principles of Chiropractic. Chapter 4, Our Illustrious Founders. Let me introduce you to them and see what they went through to birth this new profession, and maybe I have a little bit more appreciation for it. Finally, well, Chapter 5, A Formal Introduction to Chiropractic. Chapter 6, When You Go. When you finally get your ass on the table, what can you expect? So part 2 is the tone age beyond the body. So we've got physical bones. Which way did the bone go? We're going to analyze which way we're going to shove it back into the right position. Tone age says, well, how did it get that way? What particular
Yeah.
stresses are locked into that vertebra, and how do we unlock it most efficiently? So now, chapter 7, informed intent matters. Specific or nothing, I say. Field work, behind the scenes, beyond what is seen. So by using occipital drop, a binary biofeedback mechanism that Ted Koren teaches at the KST seminar, that freaking changed my whole world. Because now I can ask, oh, where's the subluxation? But I can also ask what's in there. I can also ask how best to resolve it. And then we play the boardwalk game, whack-a-mole. Familiar with whack-a-mole? It's
Yes.
yeah, it's a mole. So basically, how I'm adjusting people now is I'm asking, Innate, what do you want to do today? What bits of the extra stress that's being held in the nervous system are you ready to handle in this moment? And it answers by saying, well, tap on here, do a toggle, air toggle over there, do a thrust over there, and I'll tell you when to stop. And it's a transient constellation of reflex points that I address every time a person comes in. It's different every time they come in, and we're peeling layer after layer after layer. And so that's the field work part. And then I go into a lot of detail on what an adjustment looks like, what we're looking for, all the, the three. Yeah,
George,
yeah,
you just put out some good big metaphysical stuff right now as it was just, well, let's talk about baking right now. But you hit on some pretty big concepts that, where we're first, I thought of, okay, get the educated out of the way. That's one of those things. Okay, let me ask
right.
this spirit, communicate to me, my spirit, of what you're looking for, how you trust me to help you make that change.
Yeah,
And, an important thing is getting the educated portion out of the way. We have a great education. We've learned so much in this earth suit of our experience so far, but it's so far, it's galaxies away of the power of this innate and soul and spirit in this body. And when we put a little trust, just like you just said, put a little trust in that. And like, oh, I'm getting more clear messages from this than I do with the operator on the phone.
well, let me say this about that. I think there's two ways to get there because I have friends
Okay.
that go, I just sense where to go and I know what to move. I think there's two kinds of people in the world. Some that are just jumping in and playing life, and some of us that want to understand how it works. So Petchen Tempo used a phrase that I like a lot: simplicity on the other side of complexity. So what I go through in here, what I've gone through in the last, my daughter's 21 yesterday, so the past 21 years when I started looking for a new technique, I had to understand all the ins and outs of it so that it could become intuitive. And so there's a lot of detail in the book about what are we asking for, how are we asking, and the whole break. It's like a technique book in the middle part of it. But yeah,
Now,
eventually it's like I just know what to do.
and for the non-chiropractor that sees this on Amazon, because we're going to post links on your links to purchase. We're going to have that all in the description, okay, and
Thank
all
you.
your contact information. Now, if they're reading this, what is it telling them, and how are they able to make action? I think of probably giving them more clarity about themselves. And
Yeah.
what else would you say?
Well, I've been told the book sounds like me talking. It's conversational.
Okay.
I kind of bring in sort of complex topics and make it simple by the end of the paragraph, and it's written in little chunks. So there's subheads that kind of guide you through it. So to continue with the table of contents, part two, tone aids beyond the body. Chapter 9 is stories from the road to wholeness. So they can sort of see examples of how this stuff works. Part 3, the home age.
Now, this one you said, let's touch on part three. So,
Yeah.
what is it about part three? So, you got 5 chapters or 6 chapters? Did you say?
10, 11, 12,
Oh,
13, 14.
10,
Yeah,
11, 12. You read a couple in
five
there.
chapters. Yeah, 5 chapters in in part 3.
Okay.
And so the first one is World in Peril, and that's the people, but also the planet itself. How we know? Let's dig in. I want to give evidence for the wacky ideas I'm bringing up. Chapter 12, Theater of the Gods. So if you ever wondered why all the planets are named after gods and they're little specks in the sky, well, what if Mars was sitting in the sky 40 times bigger than the full moon? What if Venus was right next to it? Or what if they were grappling with each other with lightning bolts, thunderbolts? So we bring a lot of mythology into a scientific light because now we understand the universe is electromagnetic primarily, not gravitational. So we get into that stuff. Chapter 13, The Next End of the World, which is on our doorstep. Chapter 14, Play Your Part. If the world's going to end, what the hell are we going to do in the next 20 years? Just be who you came to be. And chapter 15, The Riddle of Existence. Why do we exist? Now, Dee Dee said the ultimate purpose of the chiropractic adjustment is to reunite man the physical with man the spiritual so the finite may know itself as the infinite. Maybe this is the enlightenment that the gurus are talking about. Maybe when we add more lux to the body by reducing subluxation, we bring enlightenment. That may be how that happens. There's a lot of philosophical stuff. Getting back to
Well,
your question, what was your question again?
I think you answered it. I got another
Okay.
one.
Oh, good.
Well, that reminds me, I keep going back to Pasquale Sarasoli. You knew him as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And, he used to say sub also means under. And we use that more often, right? Under, subluxation is what chiropractors look for. Lux means light, Asian's the expression of. Under the expression of the light. And to me, that resonated quite a bit. Since you also have a halo behind you right now, you look
Yeah.
very,
Right.
you look otherworldly. I like that.
There you go. Well, where did we all come from, and where are we all going?
Well, maybe we've never left, and maybe it's all of this and more.
Maybe it's a co-imagined illusion that we call existence, and reality is when we're back home again, the whole in one. And
Yeah.
so I make that reference to what PJ talked
Interesting. I
about.
like that.
Yeah, it's yeah. So it talks about basic chiropractic stuff, how to get people to understand like why we do what we do, and then how we do what we do. The middle part of the book is it's pretty elaborate in talking about how it goes back to the triune of life: intelligence and force and matter. Intelligence and force could be seen as the field, and matter is the form. And so the bone age, we're looking at the form: which way did the bone go, how do we apply the thrusts. It's kind of all physical with maybe some metaphysical overtones, but looking at it through the field, it's intelligent. It's information. What information about the stress that impinged upon the person has not been integrated into the whole person?
Yeah.
And where would it get stuck? Well, it gets stuck in the nervous system. That's the information handling system. So again, we ask, what do you want to do today, Innate? And sometimes it's straightforward, and sometimes we have to do a lot of detective work. Sometimes, can I give you an example of a lady that
Yeah,
came
go
to me
ahead.
with sciatica? That this woman had seen me, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 times over the course of like 5 years. Young lady, maybe in her early 30s, and she was getting ready to move out of Philadelphia. I hadn't seen her in years. She comes in, she's got raging sciatica down the right leg, and I'm asking the body what to do. And I was like, I'm probably not going to see her tomorrow. She's moving out of town tomorrow. She's got a massive, disc bulge and all this kind of stuff that they picked up by asking. And I said, Innate, can we get to the original subluxation so we can sort of undercut the whole thing instead of peeling away a layer from the top? We'll get it from inside. The body goes, yes. And I go, and one of the first questions is it, at birth? No. Before birth? No. And then I start going to, after birth? No. So before birth. So what came up was First World War. She was a soldier on the ground, and an airplane was flying overhead with a pilot and a guy throwing bombs. And one of
Wow.
the bombs was thrown, landed behind her, blew her leg to smithereens or something. Innate is probably thinking, hey, how do I fix this? And then it leaves the body. So innate, maybe the spirit, the soul, has now occupied this present form. I don't believe in reincarnation. I work with it. And so now innate says, oh, let's recreate this problem so me, the soul, we're in soul school, can have the experience and be elevated by learning how to fix this thing. So when I said, can I tell her this? I get yes. I go, so here's the thing. First World War, you had your leg blown off. And she goes, that's so weird. Nailed it. She goes, when I was a 2-year-old girl, we were living in the middle of nowhere, Montana, and rarely saw a car drive by. Even more rare than that was an airplane. But every time an airplane flew over the house, she'd run around the yard screaming, Mommy, Mommy, airplanes kill people, airplanes kill people. So I don't know if we resolved her sciatica, but we resolved the question as to where that came from. So that's some weird part of the detective work we get to do with this new version of the same principle as chiropractic, just a different way to apply it.
Well, that's incredible. That's absolutely amazing. I love that. And now you've mentioned multiple times, though, you developed a technique as well. So, I've been cared for you. You've adjusted me. Can you give us a little light into that?
Well, I went to ADIO, graduated in 81. Reggie taught us techniques. We did the ADIO package, palpation, cracking bones, learned toggle recoil, some x-ray. Never wanted to do x-ray. Haven't really done much toggle except air toggle. But when my daughter was born, I checked her. She was 2 hours old, and cesarean section. I palpated atlas, nudged the bone back into place, and then one of the subheads in the book is the other 23 in me. I wasn't sure that I could find subluxation in the other 23 bones, and it was my kid now, so it kind of mattered. I didn't have those I had good tactile skill, but not the energy sensitivity yet. So I took a KST seminar a little while after that, and the more I used it, the more my consciousness expanded. It kept quantum leaping to new things. So how I work now, let's say, I'm checking you. In fact, let's check you right now because we're going to do we're going to do a remote adjustment on you. And you are coming up
My posture just
subluxated.
improved.
I
I'm
know,
ready
right?
for
It's
it.
like,
That's real. It's amazing. Absolutely.
and Nate goes, oh, it's time. And it says Nate right on your shirt. All right, so you are subluxated. Skull bones, face bones, atlas, yes. Axis 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 4, 5, sacrum, coccyx, ribs, upper, lower extremities. Okay, so what's showing up today is atlas, which makes sense. You probably get checked every week, something like that.
My upper cervical guy just moved away. I have to say,
Oh,
he was an epic guy. The epic with the machine, and it actually, I used to hold my atlas a month, 2 months at a time,
wow, okay.
sometimes longer, and now he moved to the other coast of Florida. So, you
Okay.
know, uh, I,
Well,
I
so let's get a listing. So I'm going to
Yeah.
spin you around. I'm going to close my eyes and view you from the back. And so how this works is I just imagine, well, I know that you're an energy field. You look like a physical body. But if I tap into your energy field self, then I can bring that into my presence and kind of move it around and spin it around. So I'm looking under your, it's ASL. So now I'm visualizing your skull. I'm
And
visualizing
I
your
get
atlas.
adjusted ASL left side up. Okay, so
Uh huh. Uh huh.
that correlates, and I'm all about the body being very dynamic. I find different listings on people all the time, but that
They
is
change.
consistent what shows up in my atlas subluxation. Just to let
That
everybody know that. Okay, go.
that's very cool. All right. So now I'm gonna and it doesn't really matter the orientation. Sometimes you just adjust people standing, sitting, up, down, different positions depending on what Innate says to do that day. Remotes are a lot simpler. So I'm gonna go anti-clockwise torque this time. Yep. And that's gone clear. So maybe in a day or so, maybe right away, that'll start shifting and find its way home again. It can take a little bit more time than a structural thing. Did you feel anything?
Well, often when I have my atlas cleared, it's like I can't help it, and I take a deep breath. And I took a deep breath. I was like, I just couldn't stop myself, and I took a full breath after that went through. So I'm sure it happened. I truly am, and I think my head's on straighter now. I'm looking at myself in the camera.
Yeah. Your hair's growing back too.
Oh yeah.
This stuff never. Yeah, it's down here on the bottom. This amazes me every day that I get to do this. That they gave me this skill to like, somebody comes in for a consult and I'm looking at them going, yeah, you did something to your knee. You sprained this ankle 4 times and that one 3 times. Like, how do you know that? It's like, it's a long story. Maybe you want to read it.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I literally I felt that I've done remote adjustments with people before, and we've done some.
Okay.
I'm going to tell the story. I don't tell this story very often because it's amazing to me still. This
Mm-hmm.
one woman, she had was diagnosed with breast cancer, worked in scanning breasts for nearly 30 years, scanning for tumors. And when you see something so much, she developed that herself, and then went off to be near her family in Washington D.C. around that area, and calls me and said, this they say this has metastasized to C2 vertebra and from the breast. And can you do a remote adjustment with me? And I said, absolutely. 8 p.m. I'll do the adjustment. We don't have to talk with anything else. I'm just going to do it wherever you are. And I laid on the table, and I tell you what I saw in my mind. It
Mm-hmm.
was flashes of light and lines, and then it came as
Mm.
one, and I knew I was done. I was
Wow.
finished.
Wow.
Now, this is the big one, and I don't even know how long I was on the table. And I know this does sound outlandish, but she's been working in that for 30 years. It's her profession. The MRI showed that on there with the doctor's report, and the doctor was her friend, right? After that adjustment, it was no longer on the MRI,
Mm.
nor was it written in the report.
What?
Okay, I
Oh
was
man.
amazing, and these are professionals, people that do that. That was their living, and she said
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
absolutely amazing. Absolutely, whoa, what
Wow.
happened?
Wow.
There's power in this. We are energy. We are life. What is life? Is energy. Life is light. And the only disconnection we have between each other is the lack of that light. And that energy is following through the universe or the multiverse or whatever it is because it's too big for our little brains to
Right,
understand.
right.
And, we're nurturing that energy throughout the cosmos. And, serving the way that you do we appreciate it because I think we all
Thank you.
benefit from those things within the consciousness of energy of humanity.
I want to add a word to that because this
Go
comes up
ahead.
a lot. People say, the universe is made of energy. Energy is the second part of the triune of life.
Okay.
It's information using energy to express itself in matter. It's always all three of those things. So when people say energy, It's not a complete thought. When we say intelligent energy, then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's informed energy. What's the information that we're sharing via energy? And that's important because the universe is whatever. The seemingly parts of the universe, individuals and separate bits, it's all one field that looks like clumps of matter. When we impinge upon each other, that's called an external invasive force, and we either adapt to it and marry the stress and grow and become a new person because of stress, or the stress gets stored for later and we're carrying it and it gets really kind of heavy over time and the body breaks down. That's the price to pay for carrying it. So, so what is the information stuck in there? And once we, well, so the universe is continually informing itself with the novelty of our interactions, all the things that interact in the cosmos, between people, all this is kind of recorded in space. And it's almost as if there's an infinite number of interactions that can be had, but it's possible, and he posits this in the last part of the book, maybe we could disappear the universe by just waking up to the fact that it goes on forever until we consciously decide to end the game and go back home again. That's the gist of the home age. It's like it's sort of like when an atheist scientist starts to study something, he takes his first gulp of inquiry into some new thing. By the time he gets to the bottom of the glass, he's staring at the face of God. A lot of scientists go, you know what? I can inquire forever. I could tease out the secrets of Mother Nature forever. Never going to get to the bottom of it. Let me take the leap of faith. And I think that when everybody makes a leap of faith and we see each other not as a suit, but the light inside the suit, that's maybe what pops the universe. And that's the hole in one adjustment, and we all get to go back to the light. It's a stretch, but it's a chiropractic book. Have to have some stretching in there someplace, and that's only one of the times I mention it.
We're talking about stretch, but if the mind can conceive it, right, it exists in
Right.
some plane, and it exists. That's why they talk about. I think it was Isaac Asimov said,
Mm.
science fiction is just fiction waiting to come, waiting to happen, or however he said it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
well, we have that imagination. We bring in the inspiration to do it, which means bring in spirit, right?
Mm-hmm. And
How we're
spiritus.
projecting all that, through the universe, it becomes real. So be careful what we wish for, number one, right? Ask for what we want, not what we don't want.
Thanks for the
And that was
reminder.
Jim Sigafoos used to say that too.
Yeah.
And because how powerful we really are, ultimately, I feel that has been kept from us.
Mm.
And from D.D. Palmer on, we've empowered people about how powerful you are, telling people, bringing light to people that you've been caring for. And with the book, you are giving people the power again. It's turning on the power. We say a lot in chiropractic,
Mm-hmm.
but where does that begin? With that inspiration and the light. So marvelous work. Marvelous. Great talking with you, George.
Thank you, thank you. I feel like we should be drinking and smoking cigars, but that's
Well, we could do that. I'll see you at New
in a
Beginnings
couple
very
weeks.
soon.
That's
A
right.
couple of weeks. I'm so
Oh
excited to
man.
get to fly out of Vero Beach, which is only about 40 minutes away from me, which is nice. I don't have to go
Yeah.
to the big town Orlando. Well, Dr. George Rhodes, tell us your title again. Hold up your book for me, please, again.
It's called Earth Suit Chiropractic Beyond the Body.
Marvelous. We're going to have a link to that so you can buy it. And all Dr. George's information, if you want to contact, that's a good read right there. That is a.
600 pages. It goes fast. It goes
Well,
fast.
yeah, I mean, it's how you digest things. It's, we digest it. Does some books don't need to be read cover to cover quickly, right?
Right, right,
And
right.
as we digest it, we grow, and then we see them with new eyes as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
My friend, thank you very much, Dr. George Rhodes. Have
Thank
a
you.
blessed and
Thank you,
wonderful
Hayden.
afternoon. It was great sharing time with you just now.
Thank you for this opportunity.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Synapse Philosophy Podcast also is tonight, 8 p.m. every Tuesday night. And, you can get all of these podcasts. We're on YouTube. Dr. Haig John is my channel. And Innate Interviews and Synapse Philosophy Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. And we will see you again very soon next week.